So what we were busy with is just, getting a land for Jalusi, buying land so that, would be one of the first Black women to own a data center. I think that's one thing that I want to achieve, just to have more than 80% staff that would be women developers, women technicians, because they struggle to break into the market. I can tell you now, I need something that would incorporate my procurement, my financial management, my compliance as a farmer. And, I don't have a system that speaks to my regulations here in this country. And we said, you know what, client, say no more.
Hello, welcome to another episode of ITWeb TV. My name is Thandiwe Mzakandaba. Today in studio, I'm joined by Thandiwe Shema. She is the founder of Jalusi Technologies, which is a tech company co-developing solutions to help SMEs or small businesses grow. Thandiwe, thank you for joining us on this cold morning or afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you for having me today. I'm so excited to join you and your team.
No, we're also excited to have you and want to hear more about, having being a female tech startup founder and your beginnings and, just your background. If you can chat to us more about how you got started, because I know that you were in the insurance business and then moved into like finance, and now you are the founder of Jalusi Technologies. Can you just give us a bit of some background in terms of starting your business?
All right. So I think the journey starts, I always tell this to people and they are always shocked that I'm coming from a family where there are no entrepreneurs. Some people, they tried starting businesses, but a commercial entrepreneur, we don't have it at home. And looking at my background, my grandfather was, I would say, an entrepreneur, those township entrepreneurs, because, back in the 80s, he used to operate like a video machine from a garage. People that were born in the late 60s, 70s, they used to come to my house and watch all these Jackie Chan movies. So I think this is where the touch, started there. However, coming from a corporate background, I worked for insurance companies, in the financial sector. And, I got the hang of entrepreneurship through a friend who technically introduced me, after I had lost my job. And, he said, what, come and see what we do. And, I started joining them just a little bit just to see what is entrepreneurship. Then from there, I started thinking, what, I can start my own businesses. I started, two businesses that never worked. You first need to graduate. So it was my graduation phase. And when I founded Jalusi, this is where I think with the support, from my husband, he said, I think you should do something on your own. And I had a look at the market and what entrepreneurs struggle with. Then I founded a company called Jalusi Corporation. So when you click my name, you would find that company. And it was more into the development of small businesses. So this is when I started identifying, the innovation challenges that come with running a business. And I saw that a lot of entrepreneurs, they don't move with the tech space. So this is when I, founded the Jalusi Tech. With the Jalusi Tech, we started creating services or products that will, assist entrepreneurs to innovate within their businesses. So that range from infrastructure, software, to Microsoft solutions. So this is a really exciting time because, we really getting our, services or products out there. They're reaching the national market and we're hoping to grow internationally.
Okay, that sounds like, you saw a kind of gap in the market and you jumped at it. And so when did, Jalusi Technology then have its start?
Yeah.
From being the arm of the big brother and then founding. When was that?
I think I would say it was about 4 years ago. We started with infrastructure and we were part of, subcontracting agreement, with suppliers of different companies where we were involved in infrastructure. However, once we were, in the connectivity space as well as infrastructure, we started seeing, what, we can do this on our own. Then we started doing it on our own about 2 years ago, and it actually blossomed. And it's quite an exciting time because, we're growing in that space, we're employing people around that space. And, today we partnered with, one of the major organizations in the country, just to also support us in getting our word out there.
Okay, answers. But if we look at it, what exactly do you guys do for the SMMEs, for the small? And so I'm right in saying that you work with SMMEs, right?
Yes, that's I would say that would be part of our market.
Yeah.
Because SMMEs, they drive, the whole if you look at the market structure, the SMMEs, they play a vital role in our economy.
Yeah.
And we looked at these gaps. How do we help them to innovate? I'll make an example. We've got a software that we're launching, and it's a CRM as well as an invoicing portal. We call it a portal. You can run your business within that portal. I mean, from your invoicing to your procurement to your legal. So it helps. It's like your best friend that you need, to be able to professionalize your business. Then when we talk about professionalizing for SMMEs, we move SMMEs, from them using their personal emails for work.
Yeah.
Important, and we teach them how to use Microsoft as a project management tool within their business, because we also in the Microsoft program for emerging partners. And, we also assist in terms of the connectivity, because we also have a partnership with Centec. So your hosting services, your websites, we run them through there. So it's when we look at the SMME market, we move your business within the digital tools space. So we implement those, tools that you need to run your business to meet with today's technology demands. Then if you talk about medium-sized and generic companies, we also have a software that we're launching. It's actually two. I'm so excited because I was with my team today, within the agricultural space. We're also launching an agri-tech portal, for your farmers. And, there's a lot that will be done around that portal to help them to improve on their operations. And that would be launched around Jan. And then we also have another portal or a software for our big corporates, which is around the enterprise and supply development programs, as well as the triple BEE. So it does measure how all of these companies are supporting small businesses. So our area is around also linking big organizations with small companies. I have procurement managers coming to me, they would request Jalusi, to assist a certain business to move with time, because they're still using their personal emails to invoice 12 million. So I've seen those. And, when you talk about cybersecurity, people have no idea with the POPI Act. You can be liable for a fine. And to avoid that, you need to have measures in place. So all of those, we put them in place, and we're not looking at small businesses only, but also medium-sized businesses. They sometimes don't have these measures. So for an example, our friend, that's invoicing 12 million. I mean, that's 100 million a year company. However, they still don't have these measures or these processes within their businesses. Yeah.
Why do you think there are those gaps, that a business owner wouldn't be, have the necessary know-how that, I can't invoice on my personal email? Like why do the gaps exist, given the importance of small businesses?
I go back to my experience, my travel experience. Last year I was in the United States, and I saw how different entrepreneurship is from my own home country. And I don't know if you know this, we're one of the top 5 finalists in the G20 SA Tech Challenge. We made it to the finalist. And I was really shocked when I started hearing other businesses from overseas pitching. I mean, startups are like $5 million companies. My startups are like 100,000 a year companies. So it's, I think the dynamics, they differ.
Okay.
I would, look at, our research, with different countries. Before someone starts a business, they professionalize their businesses. In my country, we have a sense of, I want to operate and, get an income, because looking at my generation, I mean, I'm the 80s child. We were never taught entrepreneurship. We are hustlers, we're pushing. However, it's not something we came with from school. So looking at now the education system, I have my son who's writing his matric and he's already doing CAT. This person can already work on Microsoft emails. And so it's just, I think when I look at different generations, how they contribute to their experience as an entrepreneur, it's the basics. For me, the basics is I need to register a company and get going. But it differs with other generation or other countries. I need to professionalize my business and get going. So this is where we need to start. And I belong to a different training programs and incubators, but unfortunately, again, they're pushing the narrative of we get your business on the road, but it's not the professionalizing part on the IT part. It's still left behind. So there's still a lot to do in our country when it comes to that.
But then that makes sense as to why you decided to, get into that space and be like a vehicle for.
Absolutely. And I hope it does reach, a lot of entrepreneurs, especially the message that we're trying to put out there, because it's, again, we want to make it as black suppliers onto the procurement space. However, I mean, the basics is, do you have an office? Okay, I can't afford an office, but there's a virtual office where you don't have to put your home address. You can put this address. Do you have an email? I'm still using my personal email, but you can pay this amount through hosting, to have a professionalized email together with your team. And with the IT support, again, my team also offers IT support. I always make an example that I'm coming from corporate. If, my laptop had to, freeze in the middle of an interview or meeting or a presentation, or if I cannot work anymore because now I have this challenge now with my device, then I know that just an email or a call, or I would get someone from IT assisting me remotely. So we also offer that to entrepreneurs, because I think there's this narrative in the market where people think IT is expensive, but we make it very affordable depending on your turnover. So I think that's where what we're trying to at least educate, especially when it comes to some of our startups as well as growing businesses.
Okay. Yeah. And you mentioned, you speak about your team, and I know that you have offices here in Joburg as well, and Cape Town and Durban. So if we can just start with, in terms of who's part of your team, so you being the founder, and who are the other, the people that make Jalusi what it is today?
I always say I don't want people calling me a CEO or MD. I just put it there for formalities. But I believe in a team. But at the end of the day, client would ask, "What is?" Show us your organizational chart. So our structure, or it differs. We've got different divisions, and I have managers. I have people that joined me from corporate, because one thing I've noticed, that if you want to drive a business, again, you need to have different divisions, because entrepreneurs, we want to do everything ourselves, and that doesn't turn out well. So I've got myself, I've got an HR manager who oversees operations, because she needs to make sure that, people, they work according to their KPIs, and, we adhere to the Labor Act.
Yeah.
Very important. Then I have my head of programs, and, he's responsible to oversee all the activities within the business, every department. Then I would have my business development manager, and then I have my IT operations supervisor. I also have my head developer, and then, the whole staff. So currently the team is about 20 people. And, because we're now expecting another group of people to join us because of our growth in sales, we might be expecting 10 more. And hopefully by next year, this time, it would be a group of about, in total, maybe 40 to 50, because now we've just onboarded a contract that will allow us to now branch nationally. And, we're also introducing our sales team that will be in touch with entrepreneurs everywhere, so that they will get to know what these services are. And talking about offices, we're so excited to actually join a company that is a driver in the tech space, which is Adapt IT. Adapt IT, they housed us at their premises, and we've been with them, this year, and it's been a blessing. We also have other brands that are supporting us, and different programs that we're in. However, if a person would want to know where can I find Jalusi in Johannesburg, we're based in Adapt IT in Midrand. That's our head office. And then in Durban, we still in the Durban area. We've got offices in the Regis in Musang, and then we also have in Cape Town in Long Street. And we just launched another branch in Mpumalanga through our Microsoft program. So hopefully we'll make it national, and I'm really excited about that.
No, it seems like if you're already in 4 provinces, so national, the rest of the 5, you
Quite a push. It has to be.
you'll be taking it there.
Absolutely.
And what does it mean for you to actually see the business that you founded grow its legs and be able to reach other small business owners that are not necessarily within proximity but are a bit in another province, but you're able to provide the same work that you do here?
Yes, entrepreneurship is not easy. The more you grow, the more you attract bigger problems. Yes. So I always say that an entrepreneur is not going to do this alone. You need a mentor. You need someone that's able to mentor you. And, I was very fortunate that, some of my managers are people that have studied industrial psychology, that sit with me and say, no, we're not doing that. No, this is not right. This is not the way to go. And, most of my managers are people that also, have businesses on the side. So it's good to have such a team. However, it's good to see the growth, because to be honest with you, I thought I would be a small time business, having 1 or 2, 3 employees when I started. I never knew that it will grow to be this size, and we're growing it now to be what we call now as moving from emerging now to being a 10 to 50 million business. And once we make it to the target that we want it to be, we also want to be part of the global procurement. So this will shoot our sales up once that is successful. So I think it is something that it is not for everyone when it comes to growth, and growth takes time. It's not something that you think about today and you do it tomorrow, and it does crumble. When it crumbles, you need to pick up the pieces and still move forward, but it doesn't happen over time. Overnight it doesn't, but I think what I'm trying to say is over time, it really challenges you. Yeah.
But you'll get there. You
Absolutely.
And just to, you spoke about the importance of we've heard about the importance of having SMEs, people starting their own businesses, being able to be employers of a lot of people that are unemployed. What are some of the challenges that you would that you could highlight for us in terms of, within the tech SME space, like you being a player in that space? What have you identified as some of the challenges?
I think, one of the biggest challenges is women in tech. As an entrepreneur in tech, there's challenges to break into a certain industry or walk into a corporate. And, you would want to convince a potential client that, yes, I can do what this big company does. Because at the end of the day, these big corporates, they still see you as a small time. You're a woman. What if does she know what is a technician? Can she do this? So it still boils back to what is this graduates that are also women in tech. I've seen the challenges, and I've got women that are developers in my company, and I think that's one thing that I want to achieve, just to have more than 80% staff that would be women developers, women technicians, because they struggle to break into the market, I can tell you now. And it's so unfortunate that, if there's an interview somewhere in a big corporate, the looking at the numbers or dimensions, in terms of, yeah, are they able to do this? Do they know what's this? So it's always questions that is associated with women in tech, and we want to break those stereotypes. And for us to do this, we need a lot of Jalusis to do employ women, to employ especially today's youth, and ensure that they are advanced, to be able to operate in this market. So I think, yeah, one of the biggest challenges is women in tech, both entrepreneur and the career-driven women, graduates,
And I suppose it is finding solutions. Like it is an issue around within the industry.
Absolutely.
Something that we've been very much, like, we've also written about as a publication. But also then, if we shift to the part where then we know that we need entrepreneurs, we need people to start businesses, we need people to employ unemployed youth,
Yes.
and then that then calls for a thriving startup ecosystem. And then I think you mentioned, like, your experience of being in the States compared to here and what that looks like. What would you say is the importance of actually having a thriving tech ecosystem for small players or small businesses?
Having a thriving, especially ecosystem, it tells me that, we won't have businesses still procuring softwares from overseas. That's number one. And I was, invited to attend a hackathon, at VETS, and I saw brilliant minds. I saw graduates, creating an application over 1 week or 2 weeks. And that tells me that, if there is a support structure, from graduation up until you make it either to corporate or starting your business, I think, the IT ecosystem would thrive in this country. If you open your phone or either your laptop, when you start checking out or searching apps, most of the apps are not from this country. But I can tell you now, we can create those apps. Yeah, so I think with the support from, the government, advancing, entrepreneurs, especially in my space, and I think we need to do a lot of traveling, because as an entrepreneur, I believe that through my experience, if you go to different countries, you will realize, oh, these people are 5 years, ahead. Let me get more training, and then I can bring this in my own country. Then you know what that results to? Innovation, because we've never seen it. You are the new person that's bringing this, So I think having support from the government, and there is support from, the DTI, there is, support from the Department of Communications and Technology, because they are the reason why we're part of the SA Tech Challenge, the CSIR. I think through their advancement, we will have a thriving ecosystem. And the only, resolution in this company is to have other businesses trusting in IT specialists from this country. Then I think that will really create more jobs. I mean, if would say, 80% of the economy, they're using our softwares, our applications, how many jobs will be created? And some of these IT professionals, they don't have to be full-time employed. Some of them, they can be freelancers. And this is where now we are growing the structure of entrepreneurship or ecosystem. So I think maybe this is something that our government can work hand in hand with corporates. And yeah, I mean, everything else is possible. I always say, whatever is built overseas, it can be built in this country. Yeah, they just need to try us. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So does that, just to go back, you mentioned your agri-tech solution that's coming up. Do you mind just sharing more about you said next year?
Next year.
So what is it going to do, and what are some of the guys in the agri-tech space looking for? Like, what technology solutions are they looking for?
So we launched just a small event with Syntech. It took place in July, and we had a client that approached us who is a farmer and belongs to an organization of other farmers. And he mentioned that, as a farmer, I've got, cows, I've got chickens, I've got, just a lot that I'm doing in the industry, including agro processing. But I'm using the system from, it's off the shelf. I bought it from the internet. I'm paying monthly, but it doesn't speak to exactly what I need. And what I need is I need to capture my stock, especially when I deal with, live animals. I need to make sure that, all the details, including the vaccinations, the health of the animal, will it advise me if it's advisable to sell this animal now before, it becomes a loss to me. I need something that would incorporate my procurement, my financial management, my compliance as a farmer. And, I don't have a system that speaks to my regulations here in this country. And we said, you know what, client, say no more. Let's start
Going to the drawing board.
going to the drawing board, and based on your spec, we are creating. And this client was so nice to us. And he actually helped us to break into that market, because we never thought of creating a portal for farmers, especially for the agri industry. And I think once we got to that space and we started advancing this portal, and the more we did it, we had our last meeting with him just a week ago, and he said, you know what, once this is done, I will take you to all the organizations in this country so that you can sell it. And it will be of use, to us, in the agricultural space. And I'm really excited about that, because I remember there was a project I did in the KZN area where we dealt with farmers, the informal farmers. I'm talking about people, about Tulupunjis, and then by, they don't know anything about inventory management. And, one of the features that we wanted to advance there, it needs to come in different languages. Whereas, it needs to accommodate any farmer in the country, whether you're speaking Afrikaans, you're speaking Zulu, or any other language, it needs to accommodate you. And I'm really excited about that, because it has one of the important aspects, of, empowering, especially farmers in the rural areas. So we want to see those businesses thrive, and for them to thrive, also technology will professionalize these businesses. So I'm really excited to launch this.
Okay, and official launch is when?
I'm not going to confirm now, but because now, in ITWeb, I'm sure that, we can, just to communicate it, through your website, and we're happy to speak to you guys about that, so that, your followers, you would know about it. And I'm sure that now the interview is going to touch a few followers in the industry, and they'll start asking, but it will be advertised in due course, so people can follow our social media as well as our LinkedIn. We will definitely put it out there.
Okay. And I just want to hear from you, Thandiwe, like, just to get a sense of, from a business perspective, right? So you were presenting your solution, someone identifies a need, and then you guys go back to the office, and then you develop something for this particular need, but it's not necessarily just for this one farmer, but it will help other farmers as well.
Teams.
What happens in a situation where then things just fall apart?
Sure, that's entrepreneurship. That's your business SWOT analysis.
Yeah.
It looks at the opportunities and threats. So opportunities, someone's identified an opportunity, you break into that, but a threat is, it's expensive, people can't afford it. It's boring, it's complicated, it doesn't speak economically, to that market. It doesn't make business sense. So, but how do you deal with that is, before we we started working on the portal. Thank God we've got Stats SA. Thank God we've got Google. I did my research and I started seeing what's there in the market. And I started seeing what farmers are buying. So what you want to create is more or less similar to what they have. But if I were to pitch it to you, I would say it's exactly what ITWeb. However, we offer these which are additional and they would work for your business, because people don't buy something from you because you are nice to them. I always say, if you create a phone, not because, people don't buy it because, oh, okay, it looks nice, or, there's a value proposition around it. What is it going to do for me? Is it going to satisfy my primary needs? Primary needs is I need to be contacted. My secondary is something else. My tertiary needs are, because I want to look nice, I want to look beautiful in it, so it's just one of those. But the most important part is you need to just do your research and provide the market with exactly what they need, and you add more or less the features just to make you different, or compatible with your current suppliers. So because we understood the agricultural market, I wouldn't want to sell you something that's really complicated from what you're already using. So I would definitely provide you with a solution, more or less similar. However, it has additional benefits that would speak to your market. So our portal, compared to what, currently, farmers or people in the agri space it is currently using, is the fact that we have accommodated our own regulations. So that's what they love. Yeah, it does still speak to what currently they're using, but however, it's more, it much more, it speaks to the current market or the regulations that they need to adhere to as farmers. Yeah.
So he said from your analogy was that it's something that he bought overseas or bought online.
Online, yes.
And then but it's not really meeting the requirements that he would want.
Unfortunately, it wasn't. So like I did make an example, it didn't speak to his compliance. Because I'd say, if your certificates, you need to upload them. So with us, you upload them and then it tells you when they expire. Okay. But, the overseas market, they don't know our regulations. And, it becomes difficult for them because, he was also in a situation where, he had to go and sell, his services to his potential clients, which was a big corporate, and he was not aware that some of his certificates expired, because like I did say, as entrepreneurs, we focus on the operations and getting out there. However, there's still, this back end, story that we need to fix before we move with the market. So now that you have my solution, it will tell you your certificate is expiring in a month. You need to do something about it. Yeah. So at least now we've closed that gap. Yeah.
So it's not reinventing the wheel, but there is something there, but then let's try and localize it and make it more relevant to the local market. Absolutely. Or to our local buyers.
Absolutely.
Or clients.
Absolutely. Yeah. Same as our invoicing. I'm not going to say the company name, but there's this big CRM, that SMEs are using. Okay. Yes, they do use it. You probably know it. If you just say CRM,
it's probably the first one that comes up.
Yes, the big Z. Yes, okay, the big Z. So it's also international. So I looked at it and I was like, okay, it does this. However, I get a lot of entrepreneurs saying, I wish it did this, I wish it had this. Then we created ours from scratch, where now we created a CRM invoicing system that speaks to our market. And, one of the problems that it does solve, we have a big company that, wanted all their suppliers to use one system. they were trying to avoid duplicates when it comes to payments. So our system, it also allows, your end user, when you send them an invoice, they also get some sort of a receipt when you make a payment. So you are able to tell, oh yes, I've paid this person. So it connects you and your client. So it's not just a system where you just invoice and statement and that's it. So we wanted to also close that gap. So it's looking at what is already there, but does it speak to our market? And it obviously, we've seen those gaps. Then we've created something from scratch, and then we included those features that you need to run your business. So what I like about our CRM and invoicing, I always say, it is your business in a box. So if you were as an entrepreneur, you want to employ someone, I always say you can employ someone over a chat. I don't now ask you to, you could come on Monday, and then now we start working, and then I pay you. You don't even know where you stand. Am I supposed to come back next month? But what I like is it also has a legal feature, where now you can download your contracts, and you can have access to, from project contract to your part-time contracts, your fixed-term contract. So it does assist you with that. And I think as time goes, we also want to add a feature where there's an explanatory of these contracts, so that you can understand which contracts speak to your current conditions, within your relationship with your current employees. So I think it's something that our small businesses, they need, because I've been to CCMA, so I know the challenges of not following these regulations. So yeah.
So someone's taking you to the CCMA because you didn't follow.
You didn't follow, because people don't realize this. You pay someone, for an example, for 3 months. They're already employed. They already need a contract.
They don't need a written contract.
And I'll make an example. You come back to them and you say, you know what, I don't have money. I think, maybe we need to rest our relationship, because now I've got these financial challenges. The client is not paying me and I don't think it's going to work out. They go to CCMA. CCMA says you need to pay them. You still have another 3 months to settle. Then make guys the legalities around employment. So better to have an agreement, and it says if it's a project base, you have it. A person knows that I'm only employed here for like 2 months or 3 months or 1 week. So we want to accommodate that, on our CRM and invoicing system.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds like it's quite a lot and detailed system, and will cover lots of small businesses' backs.
Thank you. A head developer doesn't sleep. Yeah, it has to have it. Yeah.
And Thandiwe, just to chat more about your nomination for is it 37th Business Partners Limited Entrepreneur Awards. What is that like? If you can just share with us, your nomination and what that means for you being nominated.
Sure. I think this year has been the first year where I was nominated for awards. I don't like to be in the public view. If it was for me, it's just Jalusi. When people see the J's, I want them to think of what do we are actually contributing, to our societies, to the economy, I think that's what I want them to remember the J for. But yeah, we've made it to, being the top 5 finalists in the infrastructure, because we pitched the solutions that we provide to small businesses, our packages. So our package is your hosting, email, cybersecurity, IT support, Microsoft, as well as a phone. So people don't realize I've got my phone here, my landline is here. So a client calls me, I can, answer my landline, or I can phone them professionally it's unlimited. So we've got a partner that provides that service. So we've got a lot of entrepreneurs on that service. So the part of the infrastructure is also getting companies on a cloud system, as well as the data center. So what we were busy with is just getting a land for Jalusi, buying land, so that we'll be one of the first Black women to own a data center. Yes, so we wanted to engage in that, and hopefully we are successful with the land purchase in the next 2 months. then we are able to proceed forward to build our 2,000 square meter data center. And yeah, we would be one of the first, and then we can get a lot of entrepreneurs, whether you are a emerging as well as medium sized, so that you can have your data protected locally. Very important. So yeah, we're planning to do that.
And there's a lot of emphasis on data sovereignty. So is that also what motivated, the looking into having your own data center?
Absolutely. I think, again, we're not educated, about the importance of data protection. I only knew about data center when I started studying about it, and, how popular it is, especially overseas, in these countries. And I mean, almost a lot of buildings are converted into data centers, in the United States, not let alone the Asian countries. However, if you look at South Africa as a whole, there's still a lot of education, to present around that, and especially with emerging businesses. We still make an example about our friend, who's making over 100,000. He's changing laptops every now and then because now the data is stored there. Imagine it's not stored safely where, he would keep it safe and their client's data is also safe. So I think it's just one of those challenges that we still have, and the education that, Jalusi is hoping to do a rollout in terms of educating these businesses the importance of data storage.
Awesome. Thank you. I wish you all the best and with everything and the nomination. And yeah, thanks for your time. That was Thandiwe Shema. She is the founder of Jalusi Technologies, just chatting to us more about how her business is helping small businesses become more tech savvy or digitally enabled. For more on these, click here.